What's up, everybody? Go Burns, welcoming you to another episode of my vlog series. Obviously doing this one a little different. Some would say old school if you've watched all my vlogs, but I'm not going to be changing the style of my vlogs. So next week it'll be probably back in a fictional car in a video game as usual. I am more comfortable doing the vlogs that way, but every once in a while I feel like there's a vlog that I would like to do sitting in front of a webcam, and this is one of them. And if you have a future suggestion for a vlog episode, feel free and send it my way via the comment section, Twitter, Facebook, or email, goburns@gmail.com. And two things real quick. If you have a vlog suggestion that is something you'd like to keep anonymous, it's personal, it's really close to home, but you want me to vlog about it anyways, you can send it to me privately via Twitter, private message, or you can message me over on Facebook, the Facebook group, and you can email me, goburns@gmail.com. Just let me know that it is anonymous so I don't mention your name. And I won't, I promise. Okay, and the other thing is, if you do have a vlog suggestion, you may want to make sure that I have yet to do that vlog. So click on the card section in this video, top right-hand corner, go to the playlist, browse through the playlist, and you never know. It may be a vlog that I've already done that you wanted me to do. But if I haven't done that vlog, feel free and send it my way. All right, so yesterday we celebrated Mother's Day, and this video, I guess, is kind of a sequel to the very first vlog on this channel, which was my father's vlog. And I talked about my dad, I talked about my grandfather, and this was nearly a year ago, I think, June 2016. And I went to go watch that video before recording this video, and two things came up. One, I also did that video with a webcam, and wow, I definitely have lost a few pounds. So I think I'm a little bit healthier now in 2017 than I was a year ago. So hopefully that's the case. Hopefully I look a little bit better. The other part was, damn 2016 me. Yeah, I got to about the 3-minute mark. And yeah, I just couldn't watch it anymore because at the time, my dad was getting over his chemo treatments, and we thought he was in the clear. But it turns out, there were rogue cells, and unfortunately, we lost him back in September of 2016. So, yep, sorry, 2016 me, but, at least you got the memories of your dad. The good times as well as the bad times. And if there is a life after death, hopefully he and my mom are back together, which transitions to the topic of this video, Mother's Day, which obviously I'm not just dedicating to my mom, but also to all the women that have been in my life over the years that have been motherly figures to me, because I lost my mom at a very early age, and this is something I've talked about in various videos, but I'm going to go into more detail about it. So, yeah, she died when she was only 25 years old, and I was less than 2 years old at the time, and she had a hereditary condition known as fatty liver, which I also have. I've discussed this as well, the fact that this particular type is hereditary. It's passed on from mother to child. At the time, she didn't know what she had. She grew up in the 70s, and 70s was a very party time. Of course, what decade isn't? And her first marriage was a very bad marriage, and from what I was told, she drank a lot in her first marriage, and I think she was just probably a social drinker anyways. Her other marriage, her second marriage to my dad, was, from what I've been told, a lot better, hopefully. I have to believe that's the case because my dad told me how she was the love of his life, how they had a great relationship and marriage, and how others said the same thing. So, when people tell you something, enough people can, back up that claim, you have to believe it. So I have to believe that my mom and dad had a great relationship, even though my dad's other relationships following my mom didn't go as well, unfortunately. But at the same time, I've heard lots of good things over the years about my mom. In fact, just recently, one of my aunts told me a story about how they used to work together when they were younger at a clothing store, and my mom was apparently very good at picking out styled outfits for young ladies. Quote unquote, her artistic ability came out effortlessly in everything she did. she was also very sweet. So I want to thank my aunt for sending that my way because, like I mentioned, I was only less than 2 years old when she passed away. And to answer another one of my aunt's questions, I did not know my mom. I did not have any memories of my mom. Unfortunately, if I do, then they're buried deep, deep down. And I don't know if I'll ever find those memories, to be honest. But I'm just going to say that, some people, they start remembering, I guess, at different ages than others do. And I guess at the time, I mean, some people claim that they can remember, from the moment they're born. Some people claim that they remember when they were in the womb. I don't know if that's true or not, but like I said, most people don't remember the first few years of their life, and I guess you could say that was the case for me. So, unfortunately, anything I know about my mom is, from other people, whether it's family members or whatnot, and I really wish that I knew more about my mom, and it's unfortunate I don't. All I really have regarding my mom is some photos, which I'm sharing with you on the video right now, as well as a guitar my dad gave to her years ago, an acoustic guitar, a Yamaha. I still have it. I don't play it, but I still have it. I got maybe one or two other things as well, including a painting she did. Yeah, it sucks. But at the same time, I do have other women in my life that have been motherly figures to me throughout the years. And I want to acknowledge them right now for Mother's Day. Thank you to all of you that have been trying to fill that role. You know who you are. Some of my aunts and a few others that I do consider to be a mom of sorts. If you're watching the video, I thank you very much for trying to be something that cannot be replaced. And it's difficult because in the end, you only really have one mother. You only really have one father. And the hope is that they end up being good parents to you and that they are your actual, not only biological parents, but they're actually your physical parents too. And I realize that, things happen and there are plenty of, parents out there that may not be biologically your mother or father, but they rise up to the occasion anyways. So, I mean, this is about, anybody's mother, whether they're your actual mother or someone who's a motherly figure to you. So you should acknowledge that every day and not just for Mother's Day, because to be honest, Mother's Day, like I mentioned in that video, Father's Day vlog, these holidays, most of them are contrived. They're created to make money by the card companies, excuses to go buy flowers, to go buy chocolates, to, take your mom or your dad out to eat when you should be doing that in the first place. Because if it wasn't for your mom and if it wasn't for your dad, you and I wouldn't be here right now. So even though my mom is gone, and even though I don't have any memories of my mom, I wish I did, because I do consider memories to be of great significance, value, and importance, just like the fact that I still have memories of my dad, even though he passed away. I still have memories of my granny when she passed away back over a decade ago, and a few other people that I've lost along the way as well. They're gone, hopefully in a better place. We can only hope that there is life after death. Some of you believe it, some of you may not, but I choose to do so. At least I have memories of those people who I loved and cared about. And that's something that gives me comfort. And unfortunately, I cannot say the same thing about my mom because, like I mentioned, it's just difficult growing up your entire life without this very important person not being in your life. And she was there for nearly the first 2 years. She, carried me for 9 months of my 9 months, until I was born. And then she was gone. And nobody's perfect. We all make mistakes in our lives. And, my mom was very sweet from what one of my aunts said. I've heard positive things about my mom, but I've also heard that my mom made some mistakes along the way. Like her first husband, for example, who was supposedly very, very abusive. I mean, fortunately, she eventually got away from him and ended up with my dad. So, yeah, it sucks. And, I think her loss had a lifetime effect on my dad as well. I mean, my dad did remarry a few more times, and he tried, with his two other marriages following my mom, but they both ended in divorce. One of which, fortunately, the result was my sisters, my stepsister and my two kid sisters. And I consider all three to be full sisters, by the way. So, with everything that bad that transpires in our lives, good things do happen as well. We lose things along the way, but we also gain things as well. And, I do have my sisters, and I'm grateful for having my sisters. I wouldn't trade them for anything in the world. I wouldn't trade them, for one day of having my mom back. I mean, as much as I'd love to have my mom back, I know that's not going to happen. So you got to hold on to what you have and, remember what you lost. As long as you're able to remember those that have passed on, then part of them will always be with you. In my case, even if I can't remember my mom, I am my mom in a way because of genetics, DNA. Like, I am the product of my mother and my father biologically. So as long as I live on, even if all I have to go by is her memories, of people's memories, not my memories, but their memories of what they've told me, at least from the biological point of view, my mother is still very much alive because of the fact that her genes, her DNA, resides within me. And should I ever find the right girl, sooner or later, I don't know if it's going to happen this year or somewhere down the road, maybe never, maybe I already found her, I don't know. And maybe, just maybe, she'll actually want to date me and get into a relationship with me and actually be crazy enough to fall in love with someone like me and perhaps even move in and settle down and maybe even have a family, a kid or a couple kids. In that way, not only does my mom and my dad live on, but also part of me lives on, and part of my future partner lives on. If it's in the cards for me right now, I don't know. I'm in my mid-30s. I'm not getting any younger. So hopefully, if I'm meant to have someone special like that in my life, and I sincerely hope I do, I've gone on the fence back and forth about whether or not I want to be a father, but I think I would like to at least have one kid, to pass on, not only, I guess that's probably one of the best victories you have in life is, procreation, the ability to say, you know what? I tried my best in life. I may have not been a billionaire. I may have not been, a sports star or a movie star, but at the very least, I did leave a legacy. I did leave, a child, and he or she may grow up to do fantastic, wonderful things, or maybe their child will. So I think that's one of the greatest victories that we can accomplish as humans, I suppose, compared to all the bad things that we do. But like I said, if it wasn't for the fact that I had other people in my life who have tried over the years to step up and fill that void, then, I'd be a lot worse than I am now. If I didn't have my three sisters to lean on, I'd be a lot worse than I am now. So, you lose, but at the same time, eventually you do gain back something in return. So we all go through victories and defeats. We all have wins and losses along the way. And as you get older, unfortunately, you're going to lose people. It's a fact of life. It's a tragedy that I lost my mom at such an early age, and she didn't even get to live her life. She was only 25 years old, and I'm, obviously I made it past 25. There was a time when I honestly didn't think I would. I thought that I was destined to die, about the same age as my mom was. And whenever I turned 26, I was like, wow, I lived a little bit longer than my mom did, and a decade later, for some reason, I'm still here. And hopefully I have honored my mother's memory, my granny's memories, as well as my grandma, who's fortunately still alive, and anyone else that sees me as a son, as the son they never had, as a motherly figure, or whether they're one of my aunts or someone else as well, who I consider to be, for all intents and purposes, a surrogate mother to me. You all do mean a great deal to me, even if I sometimes don't express that as well, but you do. And even if sometimes you say things or do things that make me shake my head, I guess that's family for you, right? We all do things like that. My sisters do things like that. Hell, I do things like that. I'm guilty of it as well. But, it's important to acknowledge the value of a mother. And I hope that your mother is still with you. And if she is, then hopefully you let her know how much she means to you, because without her, you wouldn't be here right now. And if, like me, your mother has passed on some time ago, whether it's recently or a few years ago or decades ago, at the very least, hope that you, unlike me, have, memories of her to hold on to and to cherish. Because I would give anything, well, not anything, but I would love to have had my own memories of my mom at the very least. But unfortunately, it's just something I don't have. It's a luxury I'll never have. And hopefully, just hopefully, if there's life after death, if, this is not the end of our journey, when my time comes, whether it's tomorrow or next week, next month, next year, decade plus from now, whenever that time comes, hopefully I will be reunited with my mom, my dad, and everyone else that's passed on. And then and there, I will, finally be able to get to know my mom the way I should have gotten to know in this life. And hopefully, just hopefully, by the time it is my time, when my mom greets me on the other side, she'll be proud of her son, because I hope that's the case. Even though I too am flawed, just like my mom, just like I too have made mistakes along the way. And people also consider me to be sweet, even though I think I'm more or less three flavors: sweet, salty, and cheesy. But anyways, I guess sometimes, we're, we try to be a good person. We try to do the best we can. And, some days we fail. Sometimes we drop the ball. Sometimes we don't live up to the expectations of those that look up to us, like my grandfather, like my sisters, family, friends. And sometimes I probably do drop the ball. And I hope it's not every day that I drop the ball. But at the same time, it's not easy looking at these photos, even after, her being gone for 34 years. Yeah, 34 going on 35 years this November. It sucks. It absolutely sucks. And I sincerely hope that if I end up having kids, if it's in the cards, I sincerely hope my kids don't have to go through what I went through. And, to make it even worse, my mom was adopted. And even though her parents, my papaw and her granny, treated her like their own daughter, it still kind of sucks, because she died with that mystery as well, not knowing who her biological parents were. But at the same time, she did have her parents. She did have her mom. She did have her dad. They may have not conceived her, but, they adopted her ever since she was a baby, and they raised her just like they did her adopted brother a few years later. So that's what matters. They rose up and, they chose to be parents to these children that weren't theirs because they couldn't have kids. And I'm very grateful to my grandparents for choosing to adopt my mom when her biological parents, for whatever rhyme or reason, gave her up. I don't know why that happened. It could have been for any reason whatsoever out there. It's just one of those mysteries we'll never know. So, not only do I not have the memories of my mom, I also don't have the memories that she had of her biological parents. And yes, like I mentioned, you can't replace the fact that, my papa and my granny are very important to me, and I consider them to be my grandparents, just like she considered them to be her parents. But at the same time, there is that lingering question about who your biological parents were, not only genetically or, culturally, just like what kind of persons were they, who were they like, where did they grow up? What did they believe in? What was their culture, it's just a lot of questions that unfortunately will never get answered. And unfortunately, that's just the way life is. There's a lot of questions that we have in our lives that never get questions, like who are we? Why are we here? What's our purpose? Is there a God? Is there an afterlife? People believe some of these things. Doesn't necessarily mean it's true, but at the same time, there's no harm in believing. So yeah, it's unfortunate my mom never got those answers. Whether or not my grandfather has those answers, he's never told me. And as far as he's concerned, she's his daughter. And that's the way I see it. And if one day I was in a similar situation and I adopted a child, that would be my daughter. That would be my son, even if I wasn't biologically their father. Even though obviously we do want to be, the biological parent as well. Sometimes it doesn't pan out that way. But back on subject, I hope that all of you mothers out there had a very happy Mother's Day. And like I mentioned, if you do have a mother and she's still alive, I hope that you let her know how much she matters to you.